Hey y'all, this is Robert Jackson, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square. And today we're going to be chatting with Eli Farmer, who has been, you've seen him in a couple of video games and animations. And, if I list off his resume, we'd probably be here for like way longer than we should be. But yeah, I just wanted to get right down to the nitty-gritty. First off, how are you doing, my good sir?
I'm doing well, thriving, thriving. Just finished a not too long drive, so it's nice to be out of the car and moving around.
Oh, totally. Yeah. How was the drive?
It was good, it was good. Nothing too crazy. Saturday, middle of the day, so most people are at home chilling, and it's nice to just enjoy some sunshine.
Yeah. Um, I know over here, like in SoCal, we're getting like a lot of sunshine and the sun is coming out, and after a couple of days of rain on and off, now it's sunny and it's supposed to be getting, yeah, the weather is super weird here.
I could imagine so. I could imagine so.
hmm Um, but let's get right to your story.
Sure.
Um, I guess as a young kid, you making others smile was kind of something that you've always had in mind since you were young, correct?
Yeah. That's something I think I put on my website. I mentioned um, my mom always talked about my smile as a kid and how powerful smiles were. And so it was always something that I strove to bring to other people. Sometimes successfully, many times unsuccessfully. I wouldn't even call myself a class clown because in order to do that, you had to be kind of funny. So it was more of a class distraction as a youth. But my story as far as acting goes, I wasn't someone who had the acting bug as a kid. I didn't ever have an interest in theater. I never had an interest in music or the performing arts or anything like that. I was a pretty like hermity to myself, very shy kid, very timid, um, very uncharismatic, I would say. Didn't have a lot of great like social skills. I was just very to myself. And then as I got older, I eventually found athletics in high school, and that helped give me some confidence and bring me out of my shell. So I wrestled through high school, wrestled into college, and then when I was in college, that's really when I started to like come out of my shell and get involved in clubs and organizations and all kinds of things, and really sort of piece together who I am today. And then it was while I was in college that I started to get the interest in voiceover, that I started thinking about, oh, this might be something that, would be cool to do, but I don't know if it's actually possible. Um, and so then fast forward to 2017, I was a year out from school. I had no idea what my next steps were going to be. I didn't know what I was going to do with my degree. I didn't know what kind of career path I should pursue. But I knew that I wanted to live in Texas because I actually was born in Texas. And I always told my mom that I wanted to one day come back to Texas. And so I was like, this is as good an opportunity for a fresh start and move to Texas as there's ever been. And so I moved to Texas. And then within a few months of being here, I took a tour of Funimation, which is now Crunchyroll. And as I was walking through, I saw people, performing. I saw all the neat posters. I saw all the cool merchandise. I saw the things, and I saw just this living, breathing world of this thing that we love known as anime. And I said, I want to be a part of this. And that's when I went home. I started researching how to train, classes and coaching and all that stuff. And I trained for about 2 years, I would say. Yeah, roughly about 2 years, um, fairly consistently with coaching. And then when I wasn't coaching, I was doing a lot of things on my own in terms of practicing and working on my skill set. Then I eventually got my demos made. I got signed by my first agent, and I started to find my success commercially. My first commercial that I ever booked was for Coca-Cola and MGM. And so that was kind of my indicator that, okay, hey, you don't suck. You must be pretty decent at this, because that's a major brand that you're working with. So there's some opportunity here. And it wasn't until 2000, so that would have been in 2020, yeah, 2020 going into 2021. And then in 2021 is when I booked my first dub, which was for the show Dragon Goes House Hunting. That was my first dub, it was my first name character, all in one. And during that time, we were still during a lockdown. And so my first dubbing session was done remotely. So it was like learning how to dub on the fly, doing it remotely, all of these emotions, all these things sort of coming to. And then, yeah, I moved and grooved and I kept working on my craft. And here I am now. I would say that I feel like I'm very much in the sophomore phase of my career. The first year jitters are kind of out of the way, but I definitely don't see myself as like, someone who is in a position where I can teach the next generation. I don't feel like I'm at that level yet. I'm still very much learning um, myself. So yeah, that's where I would say my story has taken me so far.
Yeah, I just want to wish you congratulations so far. Like, you've done your training, and sooner or later you got your start into anime. Like, was it intimidating when you first got your start?
Yeah, oh gosh, it was super intimidating because I was a fan first, is what I always, try to impart to people is that I was a huge fan and I've been a lifelong fan of anime, of Western animation, of movies, of video games, and I've been a fan of voice actors kind of my whole life, but I would say very intensely once I got interested in voiceover. And so to now be being directed by people that you have watched YouTube videos, that you have gone to conventions to see, and they're sitting in the director's chair telling you, "Oh, here's what you need to do for your next steps," and trying to pull a performance out of you, and you're so starstruck. You're like, "Ah, wow, like you're my hero. I think you're so cool." And I still find myself having these moments when I go to Crunchyroll to record. I'll be walking through the halls and my brain is like, oh my gosh, that's the voice of da 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 da, or that's da 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 da. And the fan in me wants to run up and be like, oh my gosh, I'm such a big fan of yours. Like, I just want to tell you how awesome you are and how great you are. But I'm sure that's probably the last thing that they want to deal with while they're at work. And so I'm like, play it cool. I just, give them a head nod, say, hey, how's it going? And, try to play it cool. But internally, every time I'm walking through the halls of Crunchyroll, I'm very much internally freaking out.
Boy, we've all been there. Um, yeah, and then sometime after that, like, I guess it kind of, because it still took you some time to really learn the ro because you mentioned that you were recording remotely while, all of this craziness was going on. But, you've eventually found your groove, and then you landed some clients working with companies like Coca-Cola, MGM. So, and not only that, but you've also done quite a bit of work over the years. So, we'll definitely get into one of your biggest. We'll definitely get into one of the biggest roles in just a moment. But until before we even get to that, like, going to conventions and meeting all these people, would you say that it also helped you help get your name out there, getting your foot in the door in a way?
I don't think that I would necessarily say that, but I will say that this was more of a serendipitous or maybe ironic, however you want to look at it, thing that
Mhm.
happened. The first convention that I had gone to was a convention by the name of My Hero Con. I want to say it was in Irving or Dallas, one of the two, but I think it was in Irving. And there was a panel with Jeremy Lee and Alexis Tipton, and they were just talking about the industry and how to audition. So, I'm locked in. I'm front and center. I've got my notepad. I'm like writing down everything that they say. Like, how can I, how can I be a voice actor? Because at this point I hadn't booked anything before. And so I'm writing these tips down. And when I got the audition for Dragon Ghost House Hunting, I remember having that notepad and referencing these tips for how to audition. And so I submit my audition. I get booked for Dragon Ghost House Hunting, and the director turns out to be Alexis Tipton. And so I was like, how serendipitous was it that the tips that helped me book the role were given to me by the director of the show, but she had no idea that I was audition. Like she didn't know that I had that connection, that I was in the audience. And so it was just a really sort of neat thing that happened in that way. But as far as like getting my name out there, I wouldn't say that going to conventions necessarily helped because as much as great of a job as I think my peers, my colleagues do, of making every interaction feel so personal and feel so meaningful when they're at a convention. I totally understand that if you're meeting hundreds of thousands of people, that you're not going to remember every face that you come across. So no hard feelings if anyone does not remember meeting me, at a convention. And I've had that conversation a few times while I've been over at Crunchyroll. I'll see someone and I'll be really excited and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, hey, it's so good to see you." And they're kind of like their brain is like firing, like, "Do I know you? How do you know me?" And then I'll say, "Oh, sorry, we met at a convention. Totally fine if you don't remember." And then they're like, "Oh, my bad." And then we just have a little chuckle about it. But yeah, I would say that one of the things that conventions did help me with, though, was humanizing my fellow voice actors, my fellow peers and colleagues, and just understanding that they're people just like me, and you don't need to be so nervous or afraid or timid around them. And there doesn't need to be this pressure when you go into the booth of needing to impress them. It's not about trying to impress them. It's about trying to do the best job that you can do with the material that you're given and the time that you have.
Yeah. I think that's some good advice that I'm pretty sure will be beneficial to those that are listening. Direction. Yeah. Because there's like we could just go on about how good or bad direction can make or break a project.
Yeah.
I could literally just go on about that. But yeah, we could just also discuss real quickly about, you know, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you're mainly recognized as taking over for Joe Kido for the Digimon franchise. Okay, am I saying Joe Kido? Kido? Is it?
Keto. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
been
Joe
it's been
Kido, my
years.
boy.
Yeah, it's been years since I've seen Digimon, but yeah, how's it like getting to play Joe for, such an iconic franchise?
It is an honor beyond honors. I don't know if maybe if you zoom in on the the playback here, I've got my Joe poster in the background of my studio, but it is something that is life changing to me because I am a lifelong Digimon fan. Digimon the movie was the first movie that we ever went to go see as a family that I had asked, "Can we go see this movie?" And my parents agreed. And so it was very special to me in that way. It's also one of the last movies that we ever saw as a family, because my parents ultimately ended up getting divorced down the line. So I really do cherish my experience with Digimon the movie because for me it is a core memory and represents a cornerstone moment or milestone moment in my life. And yeah, so I was always a fan of the series. I never missed an episode of the first season when I was a kid. Every Saturday I was there, locked in. And I was in the perfect age demographic for it. I was like 6 years old, so I was all about it. And continued to watch the series through, Adventure 2, through Tamers, Frontier. Um, I did go back and watch Digimon Data Squad later on down the line. I missed Cross Wars or Fusion, but I eventually went back and watched those as well. Well, I should say skimmed. But I was all in on the video games. Digimon World 1, Digimon Rumble Arena, Digimon Rumble Arena 2, let's try Digimon World DS, Digimon World Dawn. Like I am super into Digimon. I would say that if you put up a picture of a Digimon, there's probably like a one in, or I would say if you put up a picture of any Digimon, there's probably like an 85 to 89% chance I'll be able to correctly identify it. I'll be able to tell you what it is. I'll be able to tell you what level it is. I'll be able to tell you when it first debuted. And so when I got the audition for Digimon, because it came through Sound Cadence. I remember thinking to myself, because Sound Cadence has done a decent amount of work recording projects for Death Battle. And so when I first got it, I thought that I was like, oh, is this like a fan project thing? Like, are they trying to get Digimon voice actors for an episode of Death Battle? And then I was like reading through and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like actual true blue Digimon. No freaking way. This can't be real. And so then I auditioned for the project, and I remember thinking well, actually, before I auditioned, I went back and forth, and I was like, is it even worth trying? Because this is such an iconic franchise, they're gonna want to get, people who are more seasoned. There's got to be someone, that they're probably already looking at for the role. Is it even worth auditioning for? And I was like, what are you doing, man? If you don't try, like you don't have an opportunity. And so auditioning for the project, I remember thinking to myself, like, do I actually sound like Joe at all? Like, can I do a convincing Joe? Because in my brain, Michael Lindsay's performance is he is Joe. He is Joe in my brain. And so for me, I was like, it doesn't sound literally exactly 100% like it. So that means it's an absolute failure. There's no way I'm going to get the role right, is what I was thinking, because I was being so critical of myself because it meant so much to me. And then when they were like, you book the part, dude, when I tell you, I probably did like 3 miles of just sprinting and jumping and cartwheels around my house, because I could not believe that I had actually booked this role. I read it probably 10, 20, 30 times, just making
Oh.
sure that it was actually
Mhm.
me that they meant to send it to, and they didn't send it to somebody else, or there wasn't some kind of mix up. And I still did not believe that I had gotten the part until I was standing in the studio recording it. And then I was like, all right, okay, they got the right guy. Because in my brain, I
Okay.
was like, there's still a chance that you might show up and they'll be like, oh, so sorry, we booked the wrong person. There was a miscommunication. And so I was just like, I don't know if it's gonna be real. And so then, getting there and recording was just such a magical experience, because here I was in this booth and I'm watching these scenes from this movie that are ingrained in my memory, that I know forward, backwards, side to side, and to be redubbing them, in their original intended form, and hearing these actors that were the voice of my childhood. Like I remember there there was a moment where Joshua Seth voices Ty. He's speaking, and I come in right after him, so I say the line right after. And so I hear this voice. So I hear the line, and I'm like, "Wow, that's Ty. Ty is talking in my ear." And our director Marissa's like, "Hey, Eli." Eli, are you there? Because I totally missed the cue. I missed the beeps. I didn't say my line because I was so just like, wow, Ty is talking. And I'm just looking at the screen, looking at Joe, like, I wonder what Joe's gonna say. Oh, wait, I'm Joe. I'm supposed to
Oh,
talk.
yeah, that's me. Okay.
Yeah. And so it was a really cool experience. And I walked out of that session feeling like I had grown so much as a performer. I feel like when I left that session, I was sitting in the parking lot. I felt like I was 20% better as an actor than when I went in, because I walked out with a newfound confidence, a newfound belief in myself that, I belonged and that I could perform at the highest level. And I'm really excited for people to hear my Joe. I've been fighting the urge, but I told myself I would not do my Joe voice. I would not let people hear it until they saw it in the movie. So when people are like, "Oh, can you like tell us what you sound like, or can we get like a little proof?" Like, nope, 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 nope. I will not do it until you see the film and you can hear it for yourself. Because I want the first time for you to hear it to be in that experience. You get the full shebang. And I'm excited to hear what people think about my version of Joe.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, because I've also been noticing too, I mean, it's kind of like, what are we in March? Yeah, this is March, and I know it's technically sort of a few weeks after Black History Month, but I mean, speaking of which, I have Keith Silverstein that I always have in every interview that I've done. And
Good deal, my man.
yeah, so I think a lot of us, like, I know when it comes to the industry, like, a lot of us, African American, Black, or BIPOC, or people of color have been getting a lot more. There's been more diversity, and we've been getting more people that are just really spreading their wings. Like, it's something that hasn't really been done. I mean, yeah, I look up to people like Phil Lamar, Kevin Michael Richardson, or Cree Summer. Um, I think we've been getting a lot more of like this push towards um authentic casting and just having actors just really have their chance to shine. That's what I've been noticing. And that's something that I've noticed with you, something that I've noticed with, Zena Robinson, AJ Beckles, who has been
Ah,
absolutely killing it. Like,
man, what
just
an honor to be
killing
included
it,
in that
man.
list.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, and yeah, I know there's kind of like this imposter syndrome of like, oh my gosh, I'm being included in a list full of all these people, but at the end of the day, I have so many pictures of not just with Keith or just with Tony Oliver that I have down here. I don't know if you can see. Yep. Okay, there he is.
Good
Right
deal.
down here. Yeah, next to Batman.
Right on.
So I guess I could just say that Kevin, lives on in me, excuse me. But anyways, yeah, I'm just saying that like, with all these actors, it's like you meet them at a convention, and one of the best parts about it is that they're all really, when you say that you want to be a voice actor, they're just so, because in Hollywood, um, it's kind of like a dog eat dog. Well, in some cases, but I mean, it really does depend on what
Yeah.
industry that you're getting into. But for voiceover, everybody, well, with some exceptions, they're all of them are like really nice, and they're super like, it's really like everybody wants each other to succeed and win. So when you hear like an announcement, it's like, yo, win. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just so heartwarming. So I know it's the same way with you when you ended up booking Joe, because it's like one of those one of those roles that is like, oh my gosh, I there is no way. But then lo and behold, you go into this, you're in the booth, you hear Joshua set this line, and you're kind of like, oh, oh, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm actually doing this. Wow. It's like one of those pinch me moments. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wake up every day, it feels like, because the thing that's so great about Digimon is it's a gift that keeps on giving. And so every
Yeah.
day you can hop on social media, especially with being the 25th anniversary, and there's a new picture, there's new art, there's new merchandise, there's new something, for Joe every single day for the whole Digimon cast, the original 8 kids. And to just be like, wow, that is a character that I am intrinsically linked with forever now. And so yeah, I'm constantly like pinch, 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 is this real?
Yeah.
And to your point about Black history and the moves that are being made, I think about actors like Phil Lamar and Cree Summer and so many other talent, Bo Billingsley, you know, the
Yeah.
fact that
Oh,
they
yeah.
were able to excel and thrive when the door was like this far open, speaks to how exceptionally talented they are. And the thing that's so great about the position that we're in now is it's not that I would say directors are necessarily just like we need to fill quotas and add this many people of color to roles. It's just that the door is open, so we get to audition for everything now. And so now these really superb and talented actors are just being given the opportunity to audition, and that's why you're seeing all of these people that you might not have seen, and you've been like from, and why it feels like there's this big influx. They've been around, they've been waiting for their opportunity. It's just now they finally get a chance to audition on a level playing field. And that's something that I think that we all appreciate. And I'm all for, authentically casting. That's something that I myself, and everyone has different feelings about it. But I try to do that in every way that I can when it comes to auditioning for things. Even when it comes to like accents and dialects, like I'm like, we have legitimate Russian actors, we have German actors, we have French actors. Let him do it. Why am I reading for it? Like you can just go get an actual person who lives in the USA with a French accent that is an actor that wants to do voiceover. Boom, go pluck him. And everyone feels different. Some people they want to try all those things, but I really enjoy what is intrinsically unique to me, to Eli. And so Eli doesn't have an accent. Eli doesn't have that part of him. I know that that's part of acting, but I want to be able to showcase my range of emotions, my range of ages. I feel like there's a lot that I can work with in there. I mean, then you throw creature voices and all that kind of stuff in. Like there's a whole lot to play with. I don't need to necessarily play nationalities and different ethnicities. That's not something that I feel like I need because I have so many things that I can audition for. But yeah, so it's a great time to be an actor. It's a great time to be a fan because chances are now more than ever, I think that you, as someone sitting at home, can pop open Crunchyroll, and there's a very good chance that you will be able to find a show where you hear someone who sounds like someone you know, who sounds like someone in your family, or who even sounds like you. And I think that that's very important and meaningful.
And we could just say that Digimon literally changed your life for the
Yeah.
better.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Digimon changed my life when I was first introduced to it, and it continues to keep changing my life. in such wonderful ways, and I'm so thankful for it. It's one of those things where where you put your energy is where you end up, sort of. I never imagined that like putting all of this energy into Digimon would lead to me being involved in this way. I thought maybe best case scenario when I was a kid, I wanted to be a video game programmer. I thought maybe one day I might be able to work on a Digimon game. I thought that was maybe the most I would be able to get involved and to play Joe, to play a character that is so integral to the history of Digimon. Man, it's unbelievable. It's the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you about it. I'm like, this is real, right? Like blink, tap. This is actually happening. This isn't just like I'm not just like in a
Chills.
coma
Yeah.
somewhere in a hospital room.
Yeah. Oh, those chills. Oh, goosebumps.
Oh
Literally
yeah.
goosebumps. Yeah. Um, let's see. What is something else that you wanted to share? Like, I guess, plug in your socials, any last bit of advice, just anything
Oh,
you want to
sure.
close out.
Things that I'd like to share. Well, you can follow me on social media at the Eli Farmer or the Eli Farmer on Twitter and Instagram. My website is elifarmer.com if you want to get in contact with me for anything. I'm pretty quick to respond, and I love chatting with folks about all kinds of things. And I really do take time. I really do try. Yeah, I wouldn't say try. I do. I do make the time to answer any questions about voiceover and the industry and things that you want to know. I always tell people that I can only give you advice from my own experience, though. So there is a limitation in that. I can only tell you what I did. I can't tell you what other people are doing. I'm definitely not a coach, but I can point you to a coach and some great coaching. And yeah, I just love being there because I think about the voice actors that I reached out to when I was first getting started, that took the time to just answer a quick question to me and how much that meant to me. And I think about how impactful that was because it was just that little bit more that helped me keep going when I wasn't sure of what to do or if I should keep going. And I'm really, really thankful that I was able to have those interactions with people. And it means so much to me now to be able to talk to those actors and say, "Hey, remember how you gave me advice 2 years ago, or you gave me that little pep talk or whatever it is? Hey, look how my career is going, and you are a part of this. You are part of the reason why I am here because of the motivation and the encouragement that you gave me." So things that I have to plug. I would encourage everyone to go check out Sasaki and Peeps. I am currently playing Mark this season, and it is my first recurring role on a well, it's kind of a
That would,
simuldub. So,
yeah.
yeah, but kind of a simuldub. But yeah, so it's nice having the experience of going up and recording in the studio every week or so. But yeah, so I'd go check out Sasuke and Peeps. It's a good time. It's a good show. We've got some real talented folks in there, and yeah, that's all I can say. I can plug right now. I would just say stay tuned and let's just see where the ride takes us.
Very well said. And I think that just about does it. So thank you so much for watching, everybody, and be sure to stick around for more episodes of Station Square coming soon. And until next time, this is Robert Jackson signing out for this lovely Saturday afternoon. And until then, live long and prosper, and take care, y'all. Peace. Bye bye.